Slack Tail Squad, assemble.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Revenge be thy name.
Yes, revenge be thy name. What's your question?
Are we recording?
Yeah.
That was your question? You wasted it. It's like I'm a genie. He just wasted one question.
Oh, I think he's going to do your...
No, you said you wanted to
Traditional
record, so I was
intro.
recording. So go ahead.
So-
if we're all talking, everything's fine.
You can answer this question either way. Do you either have or enjoy sex toys?
What yes.
Yes.
Why would why would why? This is a family podcast. This is the Slaptail Squad. I'm the Beaveman, Master of the Universe. You may have heard of me. My show premieres today, Master of the Universe, and I'm also the leader of the great Slaptail Nation Army, known for its courage and prowess. You might be a fan of the Ronz, who is the
Hey.
leader of the great Slaptail Nation Air Force. Not so prestigious, strong, or glorious, but still there. And
Thank you, Beaveman.
and we are remote today because Tromondae is afraid to swim. And although we would prefer to be in person, apparently
It's almost like I was there.
it is like you were here. It is. And it's almost like your essence is still here. Why would you ask that question, Tremonti? Is it because you immediately assumed that the Rons needed a strap on?
No, as a person who does like have and enjoy them, like I was just wondering, like, do you all do? And I was honestly surprised by both of your answers.
Why were you surprised by both of our answers?
Yeah, that's
I don't- like-
interesting.
I mean, I guess
guess
it depends on what you think that we do with them, Tremonti. I mean, what do you think that we do with? You think that we use them? Well, I'm not going to speak for the Rons.
Oh, please
But
do.
did you think that we use? Did you think that I use it on myself?
No, I mean they do make toys for men to enjoy.
Sure.
And did you think at one point that we needed some sort of extension?
I mean, I think at some points you do.
Like
You
how-
don't always perform at 100%.
I do. I don't know about you, but that's me.
Having said that, I feel like Ron's has a low bar for 100%.
Well, yeah, it is pretty low. You got to go, if you're going to set that bar too high. But what type of sex toys do you think we have?
Well, and our
Or should we
100%
have?
has to be determined by ourselves. So I guess as time goes by, your 100% could not be the 100% that it was 20 years ago.
True.
True. I agree with that.
Yeah, I would
But-
also like to know the answer to that question that Ron's just asked, because what sex toy does the Tremondae think that we would be using?
Well, now hearing how you both stated that they're not necessarily used for you, I take it that you have a vibrator in your space that you use on your significant other.
I hope
You
my
mean a
children listen
massage-
to this podcast.
Yeah, you mean a massage, a
Yeah,
massager?
it is a massage.
Yeah, it's labeled or sold as a massager.
Not anymore. When was the last time you bought one? 40 years ago?
Well,
Here's you gotta like crank
He's got
it.
that really big one.
You got
Yeah.
like a gas motor.
crank it. Well, you showed me one with a gas motor. That'd be pretty cool. And yeah, vibrators. I mean, with they don't take like a 9-volt AAA or what is it? What's the largest battery you can get? Like a car battery, you hook it up
A
to
D battery.
a D battery.
A D battery, exactly. Like a flashlight, basically.
Yeah, that would be one hell of a vibrator. I mean, the D batteries alone would weigh it down.
So I was interested in what else Ronz was going to say, because he said vibrator, but it seemed like he wasn't going to stop there. He was going to say something else. So go ahead.
I was.
What else were you going to say?
I was going to ask for Tremondae's recommendation as far as sex toys go.
I think
Since he
that he's
brought
going
it
to
up.
tell you to put something in your butt, Ronz.
Well,
Those are fun too.
So what would you recommend, Tromondae?
I think fleshlight for men's are nice.
Now, do you like the ones that how? Oh, flashlights. I thought you were talking about flashlights. Okay, I like that. Hey, guess what lights up today? So, anything else?
I don't know. Some things are just like what you enjoy and what's your preference. Like, are you more of a dominatrix type, or do you all depends on what you play with. But like things like
I like how you
dildos
added the word butt in there real quick.
and male tools to masturbate. Like I think most people masturbate, so those are just like common things that most people can benefit from.
Fascinating that you think that most people masturbate.
I would agree. How many times should we supposedly masturbate?
I don't know, but I know you do.
I don't have that webcam on all that time.
I have a funny story about masturbating.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so you know how when you grow up in school, everybody insists that you don't masturbate. Everybody insists that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you masturbate, you're back in my day. If you masturbated, obviously you were gay.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody insisted that they didn't masturbate. I've said masturbated a lot of times already. So when you go into the military, it's the complete opposite. Everybody insists that they do masturbate, and if you don't masturbate, clearly there's something wrong with you. Like one of my friends that we were in basic training together, and we went all the way through basic training, and we went to our first duty station, and he had never done it. He'd never done that. And so he was like, no, it's against God. It's in the Bible that you're not supposed to spill your seed, blah, 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 whatever. So I'm just saying it's the complete opposite. You go from one environment where everybody says that you don't do that, and then you go to the other one where like, well, if you don't do that, what the hell's wrong with you? Something's clearly wrong with you if you don't do that. So it's a very common theme, at least in the infantry and the army and everything, that everybody masturbates, whatever.
So is it not hidden as much?
No. Well, no, of course not. No. It's not like you sit around and do it with each other, but everybody, you would say casually to somebody like, all right, well, I'm going to go do whatever now.
So when that young man orgasmed, he probably painted the walls white pretty hard.
He probably did. Yeah, this is what people used to say. They would say, I'm going to go kill it. I don't know if they say that nowadays, these new military people, but that's what they used to say. That's what we all used to say. I'm going to go kill it.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
that is.
Anyway, so I go from that environment, all right, and then I'm in basic training, and then I go to AIT, and then I go to airborne school, and then I get out of there, and then I go to my first duty station after I went on vacation for a couple of weeks with my folks, and then I go off to Germany, and I'm off in Germany for quite a few months, I think maybe a year before I come home. And by now, of course, I've already lived as an infantryman, an airborne infantryman. I swear all the time. All this, I've got some what civilians would consider some questionable behavior. But for us, it's all completely normal. And I go home on vacation. And so, of course, while I was home, I met up with some friends and talked with friends and stuff like that. And I was talking about that specific thing to a bunch of people who are just normal people. And one of the people I was talking to was a friend of mine who was a girl, and she was dating a friend of mine who was a guy. And I had said something about that. She's like, "What are you talking about?" I said something like jerking off, and she's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, jerking off, jerking, where you jerking off. I mean, how do you want me to explain it to you? She's like, you do that? And I was like,
did you have to prove it to her?
No. Anyway, I said, yeah. I'm like, everybody does that. What are you talking about? Everybody does that. And she says to me, she goes, well, my boyfriend doesn't do that. And I said, yeah, he does. She's like, no, he doesn't. I'm like, if you ask your boyfriend and he tells you that he doesn't do that, he's lying, because he does.
And what did he say?
Well, he wasn't there. So I don't know if she ever asked him, but I know for a fact, I know 100% for sure that he does do that, because he retired as a Marine. So I know 100% that he did in fact do that. Once again, this is a family podcast. I do hope that my family's listening to this podcast as I share these things. I have a really funny masturbation story that I will tell sometime. I'm not going to tell it today.
But you
I
didn't tell us what's in your bedroom, so you haven't said anything out the way yet.
oh,
Yeah.
just vibrate.
And you know what? As
Just vibrator.
someone once told me, if you don't like it, fuck you. This isn't your podcast.
Right.
This is yours.
This is my podcast.
Damn straight.
Now, I will say
Damn
this,
straight.
that most of the time I do not depend on that sort of thing. But I mean, I guess it depends on what other things you, if you would say like enhancement aids, we do have like that, that pillow that's shaped, has that like at an angle, like a wedge-shaped pillow.
How does that enhance?
It just helps with angles, Ronz. It lifts up the
angles.
tush or whatever, and it has handles on the sides also, so you can use the handle, she can use the handle, whatever.
Oh, really? You got to send me a link to that. I've never seen something like that.
You've never seen like a wedge-shaped pillow?
Oh, I've seen a wedge-shaped pillow. I just didn't know how to use one. I always thought it was used for sleeping.
Well, I mean, I don't know that I would use it for sleeping, but
yeah.
So you've never seen the pillow with the handles on it?
No, not at all.
Whatever.
I'm not saying it's not out there. Now I got to look it up. Right?
Go ahead. We like to hear you go. We like to hear that.
Okay, no problem. So, Tromondae, what brung this question about? Just because you were trying to use that little gift card, and I said, "What are you looking for?"
Oh yeah, and then I made that comment to you.
Yes, you did.
So, yeah.
So, are you in a top or a bottom in your relationship, as they say?
Wow, what?
I'm pretty versed.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna sit back and.
Tromondae's the one that brought this up. I'm just kind of rolling with the punches.
I'll just let Ronz go ahead and ask all these questions that are on my family podcast. This is a family appropriate podcast, by the way. And if you're joining us and you're younger
when
than
has
18,
this ever been a family appropriate podcast?
If you're younger than 18, I suggest you don't listen to this podcast. And if you're one of those parents who lets their child listen to this podcast, there's something seriously wrong with you.
So you got to cut that part and put that at the very beginning.
This is
not. If they listen to everything up until this point.
Yes, it's never been a family podcast. I know.
Yeah, it's yeah. Not that it doesn't bother me one way or another, but no.
Okay.
I was just
So can I ask you all a smart question now?
That wasn't a smart question.
No. Yeah, I mean, this is a family podcast.
Yeah, sure. Yes, please. This is an honest question I have. I don't have the answer. Maybe there is no answer. Why are there no B batteries?
Ronz, go ahead. You're tech savvy.
Honestly, I don't know. We call them batteries for a reason, but other than that, I think it's more of the size and everything. But for B batteries, like I've never heard of anything like that.
AAA, C.
Yeah,
D.
I have never heard of that. That's a great question.
Maybe there are B batteries, and then we just don't know what they are.
Yeah.
I mean, how much do you know?
I don't know anything. I'd have to look that answer up.
What are
like you are?
What are
I'm looking it up right now. I'm looking it up right now. Why it appears there is no B anymore. Oh, so apparently they had them. Is simply because those particular battery sizes never really caught on commercially, at least on the consumer end of things. So
it's a name thing.
So there was such a thing. Oh
yeah.
Oh, and apparently they still exist.
Wow.
Are they small?
Just not in the United States.
I did not know that.
Well, I mean, it's not something that we would commonly know, I guess.
Well, if you're using massagers, you need a steady stream of A's, double A's, triple A's, I guess, C batteries, D batteries, car batteries.
If you've got one that takes triple A's, these are pretty small batteries. So I'm guessing these are for you then. Like these are silver bullets that you put in your butt, Ronz.
Isn't that the beer can, the silver bullet?
No, yeah, you're talking about the silver bullet, and there's a silver bullet band, but you don't know what the silver bullet is. Obviously, if you're using stuff that requires AAA batteries, the larger the toy that you use, the larger the battery it utilizes. So if you're using AAAs, then you're using something that's what they micro or the finger
like pocket
size
friendly,
ones. Right?
And like a pocket rocket.
Right, exactly. Exactly. The pocket rocket or the silver. You've never heard of the silver bullet?
No, I've heard of the silver bullet.
Okay,
Yeah,
so is that what you're using, or do you have
oh,
that in right now?
definitely. Yeah, right
You have that
now
in
I
right
am
now.
using a silver bullet. That's how I was able to get home so quickly because I had one on, and I'm like, I had to ride this all the way out.
You're like riding the wave.
Ride the wave.
Ride the wave.
I love how
Okay.
that just came full circle.
You did.
See,
That's what we do here. For
My
your
show comes out
enjoyment.
today. My show came out today, Ronz. Are you excited?
What was it?
The Masters of the Universe. He-Man.
Oh,
He-Man came out today.
now I did notice a likeness there, right? Because they used probably your physique to draw it, but they used somebody else's face.
That's true.
And
Yeah, because I'm not
Wait.
blonde.
what show?
Masters of the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Okay.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that. I really do want to
I
watch
also
that.
look
That looks
forward to
pretty
seeing
good.
Speaking of shows, have either of you watched a show on Netflix called Manifest?
No, I haven't.
No. I did see the preview for it. It keeps popping up as number one.
It's pretty interesting. These people, they take off on a plane.
When you say these people, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I'm
there's
curious.
a group of people.
These people,
of all different types of peoples.
like
So,
how are they
there's-
different from us?
There's an aircraft with people on it.
You know what? I like how you did that because that happens more times than you think. Like, so these people, what do you mean by these people? So you got backed into a corner, and I like how you just moved it forward.
Yeah.
He just tends to ignore what we say. If it's something that he can't get around or something, come up with something witty to say, he just keeps talking as if we don't exist. Which I don't know if I find that insulting or what. He doesn't. Sometimes he doesn't engage in what we say, Ron. That's a little bit insulting.
You
But
know,
it's
if
like
you
an
were there in
acquired
person,
skill,
he
like,
could
so you
engage
can,
with
like,
us.
you can admire the skill of it.
You know, if
Yeah.
you were there in person with us, you could engage with us.
He just seems to. It's like he won't engage us in our own idiocy.
Oh,
I feel like
well.
I almost feel like he thinks that he's smarter than us, Ronz.
Oh, that can't be.
He's like
Who's the one that-
humoring us. He's humoring us, and as if we're small children.
I noticed
Absolutely
that
not.
when he was trying to use that gift card and he switched it over to sex toys, like this little piece of plastic outsmarted him. But you know, hey, who am I to judge?
We don't judge.
We
don't judge. We don't judge.
So there's this aircraft with a group of people.
Okay. There's an aircraft with a group of people.
And they take off on a date in like 2013, and then their aircraft lands. However, it is now 2018, and so
So they lost 5 years.
They lost 5 years.
So this is when Thanos did. Is that what happened?
Yes,
Sort of. Okay.
And so far it's been pretty interesting because obviously relationships and family dynamics change it and everything, and
No,
these
this is
people,
on
they have to make
Netflix, right?
sense of it, and they're trying. Yes, on Netflix.
It started out on NBC, but it just kind of died there.
Okay.
So I'm glad Netflix picked it up then.
Are you?
Yeah.
You're glad Netflix picked it up?
Well, I like
You're like,
What-
people need jobs. I'm glad Netflix picked it up.
Well, when you're watching a show on, let's say, a regular station, right? One of the main three when we were growing up, they have to tone it down. They really do. But when Netflix or some of these other companies pick it up, they get to add the adult content that they want to what it should be.
A
Like
little more
movies.
freedom.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, actually, a lot more freedom to it. So yeah. So continue with the manifest and tell me about it.
Yeah.
Us
So,
about it.
I just started. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting show, as they make sense out of their lives and also make sense out of what occurred and how did it occur.
So if we were gone for 5 years, would you be upset if everybody else got on with their lives without you?
Well, you know that happens all the time.
It
You and I
happens
are
all the time. Where all of a sudden we're gone for 5 years.
Well, you and I were ex-military, so you know if you got deployed
No, you were in the
somewhere.
Air Force. You were in the
Okay.
Air Force, Ronz.
Yeah. But if you got deployed, yeah, they only told you when you were coming. You know, they never told you when you were coming.
Yeah, but
back.
you
They just-
knew. Yeah, but they didn't think that you had disappeared for 5 years.
Oh, in a sense, you're right, but you're also
No, I'm right totally. They don't think that
okay.
you
Yeah,
had disappeared.
this is your podcast. You're always right.
It's not like you were missing in action. You know, the sheer, I don't know what the word is.
Sheer.
I don't know. I don't know. It'll have to come to me. I'm just trying to think of a way to describe your time in the Air Force
Fun.
for the rest
I
of the
had
people to
fun.
understand.
I had a lot of fun.
You were riding the tip of the spear that whole time. Your tip of the spear being different than Tromondae's tip of the spear.
Yeah.
When I say tip of the spear, I think Tromondae's thinking about something else.
Oh, you already know.
He is. He's thinking about something else. Whereas when I say tip
what are
of
you
the spear,
thinking about when we say tip of the spear,
yes,
Tromondae?
what do you think about this?
Penises. Cocks.
Yeah, tip of the spear. When you talk about in military terms, that means that you're the elite force that is in the deep shit.
Tromondae, I like how you emphasize certain words, but you trail off at the end that you don't want us to hear. Sort of, it sounded like begonias, and I'm like, is that a word? But I know it's a word for something, but I don't know code yet.
What?
So, yeah. This also reminds me of the Stephen King's Langoliers. Yeah, where the planes kind of disappear or something. Some sort of mysterious force is eating the aircraft or something. It's just weird.
Yeah. By the way, this 30 years ago this year, this June actually, I entered the military.
Wow.
30 years. 30
Congratulations.
Years. I left active duty 23 years ago this March. How insane is that? But it also marks a time period for me of 30 years. I was hoping that this year we would actually have my 30th high school reunion.
And maybe you intimidate them.
Why would I intimidate them?
You have an intimidating presence.
Did I say we had my 30th high school reunion? I said this would have been the year.
See, you're intimidating me. You're intimidating me.
Listen, motherfucker, I said this would have been the year. Did I say that I went to a high school reunion? I said this would have been the 30th year. Why would I intimidate them if I hadn't even been there? What are you talking about?
They know all about you already.
Why would you say that?
You notice that Tromondae's not saying anything? Intimidated. Right? And he doesn't intimidate easily. Or is he asleep? His eyes aren't open?
No.
Are you just picturing the Beaveman naked again? You can't do that.
I can't too do that.
Okay.
But he doesn't do that. Out of respect for my wife, he doesn't picture me.
Oh, no, not at all.
Like you, Ronz.
Thank you.
I've never been to any of my class reunions.
Well, neither have I, but I was hoping that they were going to have one this year because it marks the 30th.
I don't have a class reunion.
I was not able to go to the 20th. I had planned on going, but they ended up scheduling it at the same time I had a conference that I was being paid for by the company that I worked for. And so, and my wife and daughter were going with me as like a vacation. So I went to the conference instead. So I didn't get to go. And then the 25th, they didn't have, but I figured the 30th, maybe they would have the 30th, but they didn't have one. As far as I know, unless I just was not invited. But I wanted to go if they were going to have one.
Yeah.
Why did I want to go, you might ask?
No, I was going to ask. I was formulating the question. It's like,
you're formulating that question.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
It's a question that I want to ask a question about why he wanted to go. But I don't know how to phrase that.
So much like an idiot, but it's like,
it.
Why is it so important for you to go? Is it too
funny you should ask?
Well, is it to? Well, here, let me add some filler into that. Is it to show the accomplishment, the things you've done throughout your entire life up until now?
No.
Oh, you don't get to answer. It's the Beaveman's question.
Well, the Tromondae,
not unless you're going as his +1.
Well, Tromondae said no, so let's find out why Tromondae said no. Then why would you think that the answer to that question is no?
Because you are not the type to try to intimidate people with what you have accomplished. You've never been one to like boast or brag about yourself in that light. Like what you do is what you do, and you do it because you want to provide whatever service that it is that you're doing, not so much to be recognized or honored for the services that you chose to do.
You know what? Ronz? I don't think there's a bigger fan of mine out there than the Tromondae.
Oh,
You know, because
ow,
I wish
ow.
I was the good person the Tromondae thinks I am. That would be great.
You are amazing.
Yeah.
That would be
Well,
so awesome.
I got to agree with him
I
on that.
don't
You are
boast about
amazing.
my accomplishments because I don't feel like I've accomplished anything.
That's
However,
not true. You've accomplished more than a lot of people your age.
it's not good enough, Ronz.
Oh, well.
It's not good enough.
Honestly, if that's the sign of an egotistical maniac.
Would that just be? Would you could probably shorten that word. You could probably make it like an egomaniac.
Okay, I could. See, that's an egomaniac saying, you can make that better. Do it better.
Well, you could make it better. You could make it shorter.
I could,
No,
but I'd need probably a sexual aid to make it shorter.
I wanted to go. I did want them to have not to boast about accomplishments because I don't feel like I've accomplished anything. I literally wanted to go because I hate those motherfuckers.
Well, that would be to boast, to lord over them your greatness.
It would be to lord over them my greatness. You know why? I'll tell you why.
Why?
Why? Because I don't look 48 years old.
You
I
don't
look 48.
And Tromondae would know that if he saw you in person.
This is true. If Tromondae could actually do a podcast in person, he would know that.
It would be,
but he doesn't like to swim. He doesn't like to swim.
And you know what? I saw you in person for all of like 10, 15 minutes, and I thought, well, you've lost weight. You've definitely starting to look a lot more muscular, I guess. How are those abs coming in?
They are
slowly.
I'm still not impressed. They're there, but
now with your workout, do you do like an arm workout one day, a chest workout one day, and a back workout one day?
Legs must be done every day. I don't care all those people that set aside a day to do legs are pussies. Legs every day is leg day. You know who never skips leg day when they have a scheduled leg day though?
Who's that?
Batman. Batman never skips leg day. A lot of people skip leg day.
Because he's always running around.
A lot of people skip leg day, and that's why they got scrawny legs. They might have that big upper body, and then they got bird legs. The Beaveman doesn't have bird legs.
No, you do not.
All right.
You've got great looks. But
thank you.
See, it's Ronz.
Thank you for being creepy, Ronz. But thank you.
No, I
also didn't lose my hair.
That's true too. You have a beautiful coif of hair.
Coif.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Quaff, I think, or Coiff.
Yeah, I don't freaking know. Who knows? Who knows what coif? How you spell coif?
Tromondae, are you sleeping on us?
No.
The point is the Tromondae thinks I'm this good person, but no, Tromondae, I wanted to go so that they would all hate how they looked.
Vanity.
And I wanted to have them look at my wife and be like, damn.
And then would you tell them that you're a black belt?
No, because who gives a shit? That never comes up for me, Ron. That's not like an important part of who I am. I don't really give a shit about that.
I think you should tell them.
Why? Why would that matter? What does that?
Well, they're going to look at your hot-looking wife, your two beautiful children.
Why would they look at my children?
Because you're going to have pictures on them of them with you.
Fuck those people. I want them to hate who they are. That's what I want.
You're going to say you do a podcast with two fantastic people.
You're not going to come up.
I think Ronz thinks you're going to like hold up your wallet like in the old sitcoms and all the pictures just start falling out.
Yeah. And when they go, who's that one? It came with a wallet, but I'll claim him as mine.
Do people carry pictures of their kids in their wallets anymore?
I don't.
There's no pictures in my wallet. No, I don't have any. I don't think I have any. Because that thing takes up too much space, and I don't like having things in my pockets. I don't. My dad's wallet. My dad's wallet is like 4 inches high, and he has completely no ass. So you just can see his wallet walking around. He just walks, and he just keeps putting stuff in his wallet. I'm like, that wallet is huge. Yeah, but how do you not have sciatic nerve pain?
Well, why wouldn't you carry around a picture of your kids and your?
It's in my phone.
But if you lose your phone, you can't claim them. I mean, hey, have you seen my my wife? And you're like, no. What does she look like? And if your phone goes dead,
I don't show people pictures of my family in the first place. Is that something that you commonly do?
No, not at all.
Well, then why would you assume that I do it?
Because you're the Beaveman. And you want to
Why would I
brag.
show people pictures of my family? Hey, look, I know you don't give a shit. I know. That's the other thing too. If people try to show you pictures, who here gives a shit? Do I want to see a picture of your ugly kids and your fat wife and your dumb dog?
Yeah, which is why you would show them your pictures.
No,
right?
I don't. It's like when people ask you how you are. Do they really care how you are? Nobody wants to see a picture of your kid. Nobody wants to see a picture of your wife. And then you're going to show them and you want them to look interested. They're not interested. They don't want to see your kid. And if they do want to see the picture, what the fuck is wrong with them?
However, you have a good-looking wife. You want to show her off.
I'm still not going to show people her picture.
Okay.
Speaking of pictures, I just stepped into a tuxedo a couple weekends ago, and I just wanted you all to see me in it, so I sent you guys the pictures of it.
Really?
Because I think it looks pretty good.
What's the worst of the 7 deadly sins?
And I'm going to go get something to drink.
Vanity. It's vanity.
BRB.
It's vanity.
Whoa! I don't get the. I don't
it's
have
vanity
a tux.
because it runs to everything. It doesn't. Vanity is the root of all that evil. Is it not?
Nah. You know what? Vanity is, if you give it power, it does.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, wow. He looks sharp.
Now, here's my question. We got this picture. Tromondae looks awesome. He looks good as usual. The man looks good in a tux. How long? Here's my question, Ronz. How many hours do you think it took Tromondae to get that haircut and his beard done that way?
He's back.
I would say
it took a while.
A good haircut like that'd take at least anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. And if he did the beard trim himself, good 20 minutes. If he did it professionally, good 20 to 30 minutes, right? Because you can get that done professionally.
Of course you can get it done professionally, but you know who doesn't get that done professionally?
Someone who shaves.
Well, yeah, that, but also
I don't know who.
Me. People like me would never get their beard done professionally.
I don't know.
But
you don't have a beard.
I'm a simple man,
right?
I had one this morning.
Mm-hmm.
It only takes the Beaveman like 4 days to grow it.
Oh no, I'm the same way right now. It's like the only reason I have a beard is because my wife likes it on me.
And why does she like it?
Yeah.
Is it because it tickles when you go downtown?
No, it tickles when I go down on her.
What do you think I meant by going downtown?
Oh, that's what you meant. I'm sorry. My mistake. I thought it was like, why am I going to go downtown? Is that what you meant?
So I go downtown, but my wife is uptown or she's somewhere else. And when I go down, for some reason, we have this link that it actually tickles her when I go downtown.
I was going to go downtown and look for that two-handed pillow.
Oh, God.
Tromondae, how long did it take you to get your hair done?
So the haircut was probably about 40 minutes.
Ronz, that doesn't happen for my people.
And
for me, it's a 15-minute.
Me styling it probably took about 4 to 5 minutes. My beard.
How do you style
that's good for you. That's
like
impressive for you, Tromondae. It only took you 4 to 5 minutes, or did you say 45 minutes?
4 to 5 minutes.
4 to 5 minutes. Yes, of course.
Yes.
And then the beard itself, did you have that done professionally, or did you do it?
So I got my beard lined up at the barbershop. He put a little
fillers.
I was right.
But I typically, if I go to get a haircut, I used to get the whole works.
Now,
but
how much
I
does
do
that
have
cost?
I have liners at home, and so I line myself up throughout the week or two of me getting a haircut.
So did they trim anywhere else? Do the drapes match the carpet?
He doesn't do that. Remember?
No, I don't shave. I like it to be.
He likes a full bush down below.
Okay. By the way, you look like a GQ cover. You really do. I'm looking for the watch and the ring, right? Yeah. And you look sharp, my man. You really do.
Sir.
Yeah, he does. We were just talking about how long it took you to get all styled. Yes. The Beaveman does not let my haircuts typically take less than 10 minutes.
Of course, that first picture, you look really serious. It kind of throws it off. The second one, you're naturally there. I'm like, you've got that,
let me ask you this question. Did your significant other accompany you?
No, He didn't go to the wedding with me.
Oh, he didn't go to the wedding.
Oh,
No.
why is that?
Because they were trying to keep it numbers-wise down. So for many of their guests, they didn't even give them the option of bringing a +1.
Ah,
So
Fair.
or maybe
I
you
got
just didn't want to show him off.
no, he ironically he happened to meet the couple prior to their wedding. We just happened to be in the mall at the same time.
And
So-
you didn't kind of say, "Hey, this is my significant other who might be coming to the wedding."
No,
No,
why would he
'cause
do that?
that's-
He just
that's
said that. He just
disrespectful.
said. Why would he?
It's
don't
not
do that. You don't-
disrespectful. I mean,
Yeah, it is. You
it's
don't show
bragging.
up with extra people to a wedding.
To a wedding, no,
Always.
you don't. No.
No, Ronz, you don't.
Always.
No. One, I don't like to go in. I don't like going to them in the first place.
Yes.
But if I
Yes.
went, I'm definitely not going to bring somebody that was not on the guest list.
Yeah. I told my friend, I said, yo, if you all want to take it down one more person, I would not be upset if you choose not to invite me. Let me save you the money. Let me
Yeah,
help you.
weddings suck
Yeah,
ass.
or save you the money, so you don't have to do that. So, but on
The
that
worst
note,
part of the wedding is going to the actual service. That's the
Yeah.
worst part.
could be.
Reception's okay, but I still don't want to go to them.
Tremondae, when your significant other saw you like this, did the clothes come ripping off and he was just in love with you?
People have no restraint. Is that what you think, Ron? Like,
Yeah. Well,
No, I
Tremondae is
didn't-
a good-looking man, and it talks. You mean you want to see what's underneath the wrapping?
No,
I think
I
he
didn't
knows.
drive. I
He
didn't
knows
drive
it's a
home in
giant
the tux.
bush. Under the wrapping's a giant bush.
And a Snickers.
He's looking
A
like those.
Snickers.
He's looking like the entire tribe of Wakanda out there when the bush, when the pants on.
There we go.
Get the hedge trimmers out to get down there.
Edward
Hey.
Scissorhands.
Anyway, back to what I was saying before Tremondae sent the picture, and why I wanted to go to my high school reunion was
Of
because
course.
I hate those motherfuckers.
Why?
Because they treated me like shit.
And was that your motivation to outdo them?
Was it my motivation to outdo them? No, my motivation was to go ahead and be the best version of myself that I could be. Unfortunately, I still have not met that requirement, but it had nothing to do with them. All I wanted to do was get out of that town. I left 2 days after I graduated from high school, and I haven't really been back since. I just wanted to go back so they could see my rockin' hot wife and see that I didn't lose my hair and my face wasn't scrunched up like a freaking dried out apple because I smoked too much and I didn't have a giant gut from drinking too much beer.
But you were going to leave your kids out of the equation in your career.
What is that? I don't understand what that has to do with anything. What
Well,
is that?
usually
What-
when people go to reunions, right, they show off.
Again, why does anybody want to see a picture? What does that have to do with
Well,
anything?
would you let me
I-
finish?
look, I could reproduce.
No, I wasn't even going to go there. But usually they talk about their career, right, and where they've gone. Like
I don't know. I've never been to a high school reunion. Is that what they do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm assuming I've never been to one either.
Well, then how the fuck?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But I've
Is
seen it
that
on
what
the
you-
internet.
The answer is like, yeah, that's exactly what they do. Is that what they do? All right. Well, then I guess. I mean, I don't know. I've never been to one, so
Oh, jeez.
I've been to 2 of them with the Swan. I went with her to her 5-year, and we went to one a couple.
All
I
right, so
think
you
we
have
went to-
insight. So what do they do at these reunions?
Well, at the 5-year reunion is kind of stupid in the first place, in my opinion. But whatever, they went at their 5-year one, so they're all still young, and they went like to a bar basically. And we didn't hang out there long, but the Swan was a nurse by then already. So of course, everybody at 5 years really don't. A lot of them are still in college or working regular jobs or whatever. So she's clearly like one of the most successful people there because she had a regular job and had already been through college. And I was like her. I don't even think I was her boyfriend. I think I went with her as her friend. Maybe I did. I don't remember. I don't know. So that was that one. That was no big deal. And then her 20th year there was not that many people there. And we went and, they mostly just talked about their boring families and showed each other pictures, which were like, nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit about what your kid looks like. I'm like, oh, and then, show me a picture of your kid. I didn't even go to school with you. I definitely don't give a fuck about what your kid looks like.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, like, unless your kid is, like, doing something that is on top of the fucking earth, that everyone knows them by name, their name should not be brought up at the table. And then
Yeah.
even when you're doing it to boast about something
Well,
that
yeah,
they
I would.
are doing that is
Yeah, it's like the
fucking
people that are like,
presidential.
yeah, well, my dad's a doctor, and you're like, okay, that doesn't directly translate to you.
Right.
Do you think you know something because your dad's a doctor? Oh, yeah, no, that isn't how it works. My dad's an electrician. Do you think that I would go and try to wire a light in my house? Fuck no.
You
You
would,
definitely
because you're the Beaveman. You know how.
no, I just said I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't.
Oh,
So I don't
I,
tell. I wouldn't say, hey, my dad's an electrician, so I know. Let me go touch this down power line.
well,
No, I
did you
don't
know
do
that
it.
I'm a black belt, and you assume that I do that anyway, just
Ron,
because I'm
I
a black belt.
also because you're a black belt, I would not assume that you know how to kick somebody's ass. Like I'm never gonna go somewhere with the Ronz and we almost get into a fight and be like, back off. The Ronz is a black belt. I'm
So,
definitely not gonna do that.
So here I am. I'm going to go somewhere controversial with the Beaveman, and the Ronz here is going to get into a fight. He's going to see there, and he's going to say, "I'm a black belt. Back off." If you want to see what
Why?
happens, like and subscribe. I can't do it like you did.
all right.
I can't do it like you did.
Oh. If I was ever going to get into a fight, I would never warn someone that I'm a black belt. I would also not really have much of a conversation because I'm a big believer in striking them first and disabling them as fast as I can. I'm definitely not going to have a conversation.
Strike hard, strike first.
Did
no
you
mercy.
say disabling them as fast as I can?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Beefman,
what?
You're trying to take somebody out of here?
Yeah.
If a man faces you, Tromondae, that man is your enemy. An enemy deserves no mercy. You don't know what someone else has the capability to do to you. They could kill you. They could kill you. That could be your last moment on earth.
Beaveman.
You must take them out first, and you must take them out in a way that does not allow them to get back up and harm you.
The Sensei Beaveman has spoken.
So yes, when I say disabling, yes, I mean taking them out of the equation very quickly. And then you don't stick around and gloat. You leave as fast as you can.
Why wouldn't you gloat?
What?
Do you have a reunion to get to?
You don't gloat. You don't gloat. Anyway, apparently nobody wants me to talk about revenge. So
you know what? Honestly, you've been talking about revenge. Why would you go to reunion? To get revenge.
To get revenge.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Right. But
really,
I mean,
my ideal revenge would be, as you get a little bit older, you don't think so much about harming people in a certain way that people did you wrong. But I wouldn't mind it if most of them got cancer and died.
No, I'm just quite the opposite. I agree with a lot what you're saying, B-Man. I want to see where people are in life, and
you would prefer that they were actually disabled by some sort of an auto accident instead of cancer.
Well, they got to live. Yeah.
What? Do you want them to live in eternal pain and suffering instead of the death by cancer that I wish upon them?
It depends. I know one person.
How about if they just live in? How about if I wish on them total poverty and ruin of their life? Would that be better?
Sure, why not? Because poverty they can pull themselves out of.
It sounds like you want them to have. You sounds like you want them to be fine, and that I'm wrong.
No. I want to see.
Isn't that what it sounds like, Tromondae? It's kind of like, no, you should be good.
Well,
you should want them to have. You should want them to have rainbows, happiness, unicorns, and teddy bears. No, I don't. I don't want that. I want them to fucking
all right,
suffer.
fantastic. I like to revisit some
suffer like I suffered.
I like to revisit some people that I kind of shook from my life to see where they're at in life, and I know
I shit from your life. Did you say
shook
you shit
from my life?
Oh, shook.
I do so much better than them, right? My wife and my son ran into them, and I said, "How do they look?" And they look really horrible. When I look
now, so they looked worse than you.
No, they looked worse than when we first met them.
So they didn't look worse than me. They just look worse than when I first met them.
But yeah, that's the way it goes. How once again though.
No, this is what's funny is you're like, yeah, I don't care if they look worse than me. I just want them to look worse than when I first met them.
Well, no, they're gonna look.
My revenge.
They're gonna look worse than.
If any time went by at all, chances are they probably did look worse than when you first saw them.
I like how you flip that on me. But, I don't wish them to be any worse sometimes, but it's one of those things like you watch them spiral down. I'm pretty sure you watch people spiral down and you're like, oh, I'm so glad I'm not with you anymore. Right? Because you just saw the train wreck happening.
Ron, you don't have a revenge bone in your body. You are so fucking nice. You're just genuinely nice.
I try to be nice, but I can be vicious if I had to. Right?
No, you're right. He doesn't.
I don't want you all to look worse than me.
I just want you to suffer worse than me.
Worse.
Well,
he's like, I just want this person at least once in their life, if they order a regular Coke, I want them to be given a diet at least once. I mean, I want them to be able to switch it out when they go back up to the counter, but at least just once. I
see where you're going with that. Yeah.
I mean, on second thought, I guess just make it. I guess just make it a Pepsi. They don't have the option to have a Coke, and it has to be a Pepsi. The whole diet thing was going too far.
Yeah. As far as revenge goes, I do have a revenge streak, but I keep it pretty well suppressed. I really do. Because in the end...
It's not even remotely interested if you keep it suppressed.
Yeah, but in the end, if you do what you want to do, how does it impact everybody around you? And that's what draws you back to reality. Let me put it this way. The universe
doesn't care what we do.
It doesn't. But it impacts everybody around me. So I'm not going to be one of those guys who goes out and actively seeks to get revenge. Now, mentally, I'm thinking I'm on top of the world and I can do it, but that's one thing mentally.
So as long as you've defeated your enemies mentally, that's good enough for you. Like in your mind, even though they're fine.
I don't know.
Is that what you're saying?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Ron, no, you have to allow them to feel something.
So will I get them a Diet Coke and say it's a Coke?
Don't go that far, Ron. Just make sure it's a Pepsi. If somebody wants a Coke,
give them a Pepsi.
Keep it in the same brand.
It's your own sweet revenge if you give them a Pepsi. And they drink it, and they don't notice, but in your mind, you're like, oh yeah, motherfucker, has a Pepsi. Take that shit.
Yeah, have you ever seen South Park when...
No, I don't care about that.
Yeah, but Butters does that.
No, I don't care about that.
He becomes Professor Chaos because he gets stepped on. And he goes around and he switches the salt and pepper shakers, just switches them, just changes places. And, now the salt shaker is where the pepper shaker should be. And it's a slight inconvenience. That's all it is.
Yeah, but for you, clearly, you don't even want an inconvenience. Then you just want to know in your own head, they're like, yeah, I made that motherfucker drink a Pepsi, but they wanted a Coke. I don't understand. I don't understand. Why are you averse to having some revenge? I didn't even say I got to take it. I'm just saying, all right, let me tell you what happened to me when I was in school.
Okay.
I lived a complete life of misery from 5th grade on. Treated like shit all the time. Told I was fat. Touched in places that were inappropriate to touch anybody in. Punched, hit, threatened with bodily harm up until the time I graduated high school. That's what my life was like for 8 years. I don't like the majority of the people. I had a very few friends. Those, of course, are not the people that I want to suffer and die. But the rest of them, you know what? That would be great. So I don't think it's unreasonable for me to want them to live in poverty or to be so grossly obese that they can't even get out of their own home or to have all kinds of things happen with them, to drink themselves into liver failure, to smoke so much that they get COPD. All things that they would do anyway. But for me, that's a great, great incentive to see how much for them to lose their fucking hair. All great things. Because you know what? I have been pretty lucky. I've been pretty blessed. Yeah, I've injured myself pretty badly a few times, but I don't have actual structural issues. Like I don't have heart disease and I don't have diabetes and I don't have all these other things. I mean, these are just musculoskeletal complaints that I have. Well, and of course, my horrible depression, but that, I mean, which will never go
Well,
away. But you know what? It's nice. Yeah, I want to see them lose their fucking hair, Rons. I want to see
I
the
understand where
women.
you're
I
coming
want to
from.
see the women have fucking mustaches.
I understand where you're coming from because I was the same way. I really was. So I can relate, right? And
you can't relate, Rons.
Okay, I can't relate.
Let me tell you something. Let me
tell me something.
I love the Rons. He's a good man. He's a good man.
Well, thank you.
He's got a good heart. But let's be honest, Rons. You don't look like me. So.
Well, I mean, when we stand next to each other, it's hard to tell us apart, but you're right. I mean, we look so much white. Me, Caucasian, you, Latino. I mean, we look like the evolutionary scale of light to dark.
I'm just saying that there's a good chance that at the age of 48, if you compared yourself to your peers at the same age of 48, there's a good chance you all look very similar.
No, you wouldn't because you take care of yourself, right?
No,
you go out of your way.
I'm talking about you.
Oh, me.
I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you saying that you at the age of 48 probably look like the rest of your peers at the age of 48.
No, because I did more than my peers at age 48, and I still do more than my peers at age 56, right?
So if
and
we
that's
took a
the one thing,
snapshot,
honestly,
saying,
that's the one thing that keeps me going.
56-year-olds, they would not look like you. You would look far better.
And I think that's one thing that keeps you going too, is that all the stuff that you accomplished in your life to prove to them that you're not that person anymore.
No, right? I'm not proving. I didn't do anything to prove anything to them. Everything I do is to prove something to me.
Now, one drop was spilled there, Tromondae.
I don't do anything to prove anything to them.
That was good.
It's for me.
I like that. But, and yeah, I agree with that too, Beaveman. The way you have to strive to better yourself so you don't slip back into that depression.
This is a very sad conversation because I wanted to talk about how to get revenge on people, but Ronz wants to be Mr. Nice Guy. And Tromondae thinks that I'm too nice to contemplate revenge on people.
Before we got flooded out, I had mentioned it, I'd done.
But you decided you wanted to go Mr. Nice Guy route instead. Instead of talking about ways to take revenge on people, you decided to flip it all the way around. And now I'm the one who looks like he's evil for wanting to take revenge on people, which is fine. But don't try to convince me that I shouldn't want revenge on people. And then Tromondae, who thinks that I'm too nice to ever act that way, because unfortunately, Tromondae thinks there's a halo over the Beaveman's head. But it's not there. It's horns. It's not there.
It's porn? A horn. No, you and I were discussing some of the stuff that I did research on, right? Before we got left, right? I have I do have that side, but I keep it suppressed, right? Because
that's boring. Nobody wants to hear about your suppression. I want to hear about the actual what you would want. I didn't ask to hear about your suppressed thoughts on revenge. How are we supposed to teach Tromondae the importance of revenge if you want to suppress your shit?
Oh, well, that's it's sort of like the Hulk. I mean, if the Hulk comes,
I wish the Swan was here.
Why?
She'd be all on board about talking about how great revenge is or would be.
So what type of revenge should I get on somebody?
You don't want to. No, now you don't want to. No, you're trying to get into it now.
Okay, fine. I thought I'd try it.
So, Beaveman, after you gave your explanation of how you feel about these people, I completely understood why you want to do what it is that you want to do to them.
I agree with Tromondae on this.
And what I think that was different than what Ron's question was initially. Ron's question seemed to say you want to take all of your trophies and show them off, but you're not so much a want to tell them what you've accomplished with nursing and this, that, and the other. You rather just stand there and say look at me now, bitches,
right. Sort of like RuPaul. Right. Well, RuPaul, when he says, look at me now. All right, continue, Tremondae. That's a reference lost on him.
I would like to thank Ronz for interrupting Tremondae's thoughts when he was on a roll and was actually saying some interesting stuff. Way
Okay,
to interrupt him,
and that's what I do. All right, continue,
you wanted to
Tremondae.
say something stupid.
So yeah, so how you feel about them? Like I mean they've called you like trauma, if you
Yeah.
will.
I truly have PTSD. I still have nightmares that I'm in high school.
And that's not okay.
Nothing I did in the military causes me trauma. I don't wake up with any bad dreams that I was in the military. I don't have any of that stuff, but I still wake up with bad dreams from that I'm in high school. And once upon a time, many years ago, probably like 10 years ago, one of the people who was my friend when we were young, but decided he was going to ignore me once we got into middle school and high school, was on my Facebook, and I had messaged him about how I felt. And he had the nerve to say to me, well, you don't know what their home lives were like. That's why they acted that way. I'm like, well, what does someone's home life has to do with it? Doesn't make it all right for you to make somebody else live a traumatic life because your home life sucks. That's not right.
You know
because they ruined my life.
I think you should go and you should get a big ass projector and you should get your life made into like a short film, and right in the middle of the most important presentation, you push play on it and you make them sit there and watch it and call their asses out.
Yeah, and I was going that route. I agree, but the Beaveman, right?
I was going to say the same thing, Tromondae.
Well,
no,
that's once again, that's where the pictures come in. But you know what? The way Tromondae says, show pictures on a slideshow versus in your big ass wallet that hangs down your ass, right? So I agree with what Tromondae's saying, and to me,
no, you do all of it. You don't pick and choose what's the best one. You do all of it. Whatever comes to mind as far as what can I do to get back and I can make it happen, you do it. It's the 4th of July. Once the fireworks start, there's always a grand finale. Yeah. So you got to build up to it.
One of the worst things I heard was, no offense to any, well, I don't know if you say no offense, but I had a really hard time getting girls to date me when I was in high school. Like, so it was really difficult. I had like 2 girlfriends, one not so great looking and one very pretty. But I literally couldn't get girls to date me no matter how hard I tried. As soon as I get into the Army, I could date pretty easily if I wanted to. And that continued until, then I get married or whatever. And then after I get divorced, it was the same thing. I had no hard time getting girls to date me whatsoever. But on the one rare occasion that I went back to my old town, I went back to meet up with one of my only friends, a couple of them, and we were talking, and there was some girls there that were, quote, popular in high school. And they basically made a stray comment that said that they knew of many popular girls that wanted to date me, but didn't date me because I wasn't popular.
Well, that's high school clique though, but I understand where you're coming from that too.
Do you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because that same thing had happened to you.
No.
Well, then how do you know where I'm coming from? You don't have to say that. I mean, you can just say, I sympathize with you, Beaveman. I empathize with you, Beaveman. But don't say you know where I'm coming from if it didn't happen to you, or if nothing like that has ever happened to you.
Okay, on that note, right, I once asked a girl out in high school to prom. She was a pretty girl.
Now, this was your cousin.
Yeah, it was my cousin. Right. And then when I was in another high school, I was dating or going out with a girl, but I wasn't popular. I was always the outsider like you were. So in some ways I can sympathize, and on some aspects I can relate, but not to the level you are, because I will never be like the Beaveman.
Did that same thing happen to you that you heard, like you got a stray comment that you heard that was like, no, there was a lot of girls who wanted to date you, but they didn't because you weren't popular. Like they found you attractive, but they didn't date you because you weren't popular. Is it? So that same thing happened to you, Ronz. That
No, it
that
didn't. I
details you.
mean, well, no, and once again, it was about popularity too back then. So if there were any girls interested in me, I didn't know about it. So
Okay.
it was like that.
I totally understand.
Do you? Do you really? I can
I
understand if
know
you
where
said
you're coming
sympathize.
from. I know where you're coming from. That's the
Uh,
point. The point I'm making is that I know where you're coming from.
oh no, I understand. And I can see Tremonti putting his counselor hat on here, trying to ease us into transition and make us talk about it and talk us down. So,
No, let me explain it a
Like
little bit more so
I
you'll
can
understand
barely breathe right now, laughing at you two.
and
Oh my god.
so Tremonti, was it like that for you in high school? Were you very popular?
it.
I was
Obviously,
known. I wouldn't say that I was popular.
he's super nice, so everybody knows who he was.
Yeah,
I'm
everybody
sure.
knew who he was.
Yeah.
So, what was your high school like for you, Tremonti? What was your life like back then?
Clearly, rainbows, unicorns, and teddy bears.
Not yet. And that's what I wish it was. Like I wish even at that age I was more confident in being who I was and not pretending to be someone who I not, wearing Air Force Ones on a regular basis and clothes were 2 times too big, like that was not me, but yet that was my community, my space. And so like I felt like I had to duplicate what it is I saw. Um so it was a life of living behind a filter.
Like most people do. A lot of people do.
True.
Yeah, where the unfortunate thing for things like me was if there was a popular way of dressing, let's say, um, if I would have worn anything that was considered popular, even though everybody else was wearing it, like when parachute pants came out. Ooh, parachute pants, super cool. Still kind of want a pair. Um, I didn't even bother to ask for a pair because if I would have worn them, I would have been teased, ridiculed, and probably even had them ripped or something on purpose because I wasn't popular and shouldn't be dressing like that.
Right.
So, not fun stuff.
And
Wow.
I can sympathize with that too. Right, being on the outside, right, looking on the inside. Right, we all wanted to be part of that special crowd. Right, we always wanted to be popular, and it was very hard for us to fit in.
Mm,
And when we tried, well, we
I
will
don't
say for one of us, it wasn't that hard because he was super, super great guy. I won't mention his name, like Tremonti's name, but
no. What I think what I the part of your statement, Ron, that I disagree with is, and maybe this is how the Beaveman felt or didn't feel. He may or may not necessarily wanted to be popular. He just wanted to be respected.
Yeah, and left alone.
no
I just wanted to be
way.
left alone.
So I
I
don't
didn't
I
want
don't
to be
necessarily want
bullied
to
every day of my life.
fit into your crowd. I just want you to leave me alone.
Yeah, that's how
So
I felt.
it's not
I
necessarily
definitely, I
wanting
definitely
to
didn't
be
want to.
popular.
I definitely didn't want to fit into their crowd because they were nasty people and I didn't like them.
Yeah.
Who wants to be? If being popular means that you were exposing yourself every single day to those nasty people, who wants that?
No,
Nobody
thank you.
wants that. No. Which is
God
also
bless.
why I told my children, not like my son, who's obviously been graduated for a long time, where I always told them high school doesn't matter, and make something of yourself beyond high school. Don't get wrapped up in it. Just like I tell my daughter now. Thankfully, both of them know that and knew that. They're like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Like even in the grand scheme of things, which I hate to say it, but it's true. Your grades don't matter either.
True.
Yeah, and I'm glad my son was never one of those kids. I mean, he could float between all the crowds, but he was also well respected by his teachers, and he was just a general. He would stick up for the little guy who'd help somebody out if needed be. So he was the manifestation of what I wanted to be when I was in high school.
And that's good. And that's probably just because you raised him a certain way and you gave him advantages that you didn't have, which led him to have confidence, which is the same thing I do with my children, so that they wouldn't be backed into that corner by assholes.
Oh yeah, and judging by Summer's, the daughter's comments when I listened to last week's podcast, who could do my job like a 5-year-old, right? And how sarcastic she is. She's definitely picked that up from you, right? And yeah, I don't see her getting backed into a corner anytime soon.
But yet she's actually much nicer. Whereas you have somebody who has the capabilities to, and full well knows that she could easily take someone out. She has never done that.
I don't think she ever would need
No,
to,
it's
because
disappointing. It's quite sad.
she's
actually
just one of those. She's like my son. She can float between all the crowds, right? She's just that easygoing.
No,
And
but she does get harassed by a couple girls.
Oh well,
and
she'll take care of them easily.
no, she could. That's my point. My point is that she has that advantage over the advantage that I had. She actually could do it, but she's one of those people who never will. She won't do it because she feels like it's not necessary, and she wouldn't want to risk her career in high school by doing it. But even though she could easily do it, she's not one of those people who knows. She knows she can do it. She just never will.
See, RJ had a couple of incidences in high school, and that they didn't care because they knew what he was. They knew that he knew how to defend himself. Because we expected phone calls, but it's like, nope, never happened. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And that was one of those things. Like, he knew how to handle himself in just about every situation. So I was very proud of him. Right. And judging by the way Skylar's turns out probably could handle himself in every situation.
Yeah, they could. I'm just saying they're very lucky they did not get, even though the daughter has a temper, she's not somebody who.
She's got a temper?
She has a temper outside, but not outside of our home, if that makes any sense. In other words, she can very easily deal with people and tolerate them without snapping, unlike her father.
Oh.
So both of them got a better temperament than I have, but their abilities.
Now, did they pick that up from the Swan?
But their abilities are so much better than mine. No, I mean the Swan will punch somebody in the head. I've seen her do it. She doesn't mess around.
Did they pick that up from Tromondae?
Yes, they got it from camp. Which actually, that's not really. That's probably actually true. They probably did get a lot of their behaviors from going to camp.
True. So I have a question for you, Beaveman. Are there more people that you want to add to the list outside of those who you graduated with?
Really, in interactions in life, in my professional life, there probably are a few, but it's less than 10. But no, the trauma is really from. It's all from high school. Everything else has been, and a lot of it is, from talking with a psychologist and stuff like that. A lot of the stuff they say is like, oh, it's just because you have this high standard in life, and that's all stuff that you learn in the military. But the trauma of dealing with people is all from high school. And how,
Gotcha.
because I would really much rather, after all these years, and that's why I have to step away from situations, is because yes, I would much rather just punch somebody in the face. Even at the age of 48 years old, well, not in the face, I'd punch them in the throat. Even at this age now, and that's why I say that bullies you need to stand up against bullies, because if you don't, they're still just going to be bullies. Case in point, even within this past year, somebody said that they were going to fight me as an adult, and I said, this is where I am, I'm right here, and they didn't show up. So,
well, maybe they were flooded in their house and they couldn't get out to see you.
No, that's not what happened. My point is that bullies are still bullies. No, bullies are still bullies.
Fuck you, Ron. Really?
No, Ron's. It was at my daughter's basketball.
Ron.
It was at my daughter's basketball game, and this person on the parent on the other team was talking some major shit, and I said, "Hey, I'll meet you right after this game, right outside." And they jetted right after. I'm like, "See, all you have to do is call bullies on being bullies, and if they decide that they're going to actually fight, then you actually fight them and you destroy them. You hurt them very badly." People will do. All they want to do is they want to run their fucking mouths and think that they can get away with it. Like, no, show them that they can't get away with it. You know, the
Yeah,
swan, and the
I'm
swan was
listening.
with me, and you know, swan was with me. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll beat the fuck out of their wife too. I'm like, okay, go ahead.
You know, it's
That's just
you
how it
know,
goes.
no. I understand that. And I like how Tremonti actually stood up for himself. That was awesome.
Was it awesome? Did it
It,
inspire? Was his comment? Did it inspire awe? Was it that
it
great? It
inspired
just
awe.
inspired awe. It was like, oh my god, that
It
comment.
inspired awe.
He stood up for himself, and now I just jizzed a little.
I think the best revenge you could do is live better than your yesterday, and outshine and live better than your enemies.
But they don't know. How's that the best revenge?
Well, no, I
I guess
understand that.
I don't understand how that's the best revenge. How's that the best revenge?
Well, okay, in the sense that you are now 40 something, you're in good health, you've got great kids, you got great friends, you got great family, right? You do so much more, right? And that in itself, to me, is satisfying what you do, right? You have more opportunities because you not only created opportunities for yourself, but there were other people who gave you opportunities that you took advantage of, and it propelled you further in life. Don't shake your head like that.
Like what? What
No,
opportunities did other people give me?
you got to meet Tremondae.
What opportunity? I'm just curious. What opportunities did other people give me that I didn't manifest for myself? What was that exactly?
Well, you met me. You got me on your podcast.
What opportunities did other people give me that I didn't manifest for myself?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. You know, I was,
Nice
you
enough
know,
of you to say though. Thank you for
no,
thank
no,
you
for
for saying
me,
that I didn't work for my own shit.
no, for me, because of certain people, knowing certain people in certain communities, I got to teach this year, right? Something I'd never done before in a classroom setting, right? Not a dojo setting, but a classroom setting. Why is he shaking his head?
Because Ron, and this is something that we talked to you about several weeks back,
Okay.
Yeah,
months maybe,
motherfucker.
on a
Yeah.
podcast. It is okay to tell people what you did to me was not okay. I did not like it, and you will not do it again.
Yeah, I understand that part, but where does that
And
get?
so this is him saying that. However he wants to say it, you have to allow him to say it how he wants to say it. If he wants to write it in a song with an orchestra, or if he want to paint it on top of their fucking cars in the parking lot.
How about
I
However
will
carving
he
it
get
into
wants
him
to
their,
to
say
paint if
it,
he's going to do
he
that.
should say it.
how about
I
carving
agree.
it into their chest? Carving is that acceptable? Carve it into their chest.
I
There we
agree, but
go.
if you don't have the opportunity to do that, live your life better than them, right? If you don't have the opportunity
How
to
is
paint the
that?
car,
He's doing he. That's not the point, Ron.
no, I get
When
the
he
point.
turns around and he walks out of that door with the knife dripping from the blood that he just used to carve "fuck you" in their chest, he's not going to feel bad about it.
Yeah, that's the point.
I never said he
He
shouldn't.
wants me to live this silent happiness.
No, I don't want
You're
you
like,
to live a silent happiness.
here's the deal. Here's the deal, Beaveman. You just live a good life every day, and then you yourself know, and they don't gotta know, okay? But you be the best version of you, so that you yourself know that you're the best version of you. It doesn't matter if anybody else knows, but you be you, and that, my friend, is the best revenge. That's the
I'm
best
not.
revenge.
You know, when you say it like that, it sounds like exactly that's what I'm saying, but I'm not.
That's
Because
exactly what you said. You said
you left one
do your
important
best,
thing out.
and
You left
that is
one
the most
important thing
important.
out.
That's the most important way of revenge is revenge without taking revenge.
You left one important thing out. Is that you're not getting to see these people. When you get to see these people, then go wild. I want you to go wild. I want to read the news about you. But until then, what do? You tell me what you should do until then.
What he's been doing.
Exactly. Living his life to the best and telling everybody who he is.
But when did we say we were not going to do that? He didn't say he was going to sit in misery until he got to stand before these people again and have this.
What is he going to go knock on their damn door? I think he should.
If he knew where they live, he would.
Yeah. All right, you and I are getting in a car, and we're going to take him to every car door there is.
Beaveman, what I've learned tonight is when you need to go throw your hands, Ron is not the person to call.
No, he's not.
Oh, I got his back.
No,
I will come hell or high water and help you.
The Swan's got my back, and that's all that matters.
Well,
Swan hits harder than most men I've known. So
if she's got your back, are you using that pillow with the handles?
She's not worried about punching somebody in the head. So
neither am I. But if she's got your back, are you using that pillow with the handles? And what type of sex toy? Back to Tromondae, what he said earlier.
The Swan would back me up. I've watched her wrap her fingers through someone's hair and pound the crap out of them using their hair as a handhold. So I'm pretty sure that the Swan's got my back.
Well, she's got to protect her bitch. Yeah, no. Yeah. Is Tromondae frozen?
No,
there he is.
He's just shocked by the shit you say.
No, you know what? In all seriousness, Tromondae.
I feel like you're just telling me that revenge is not what I should be thinking.
No. Revenge is what you want it to be, and if this is what you want it to be, I've got your back 100%. Always got you, right? That's the way it should be.
Thank you.
Right? And Tromondae. I mean, Tromondae is one of the sweetest guys I know, right? And one of the hottest guys in a tuxedo I know, right? But I got his back. And, I know that's going to come out so wrong.
So let me ask you this final question then, Ronz.
The final question.
Ronz, and also for Tromondae then.
All right.
Is it totally acceptable or unacceptable, or whatever your comment has to be, for me to imagine their heads sticking on a pike?
Oh, hell no. Go for it. Dude, I sympathize with that. Oh, you know what? Let it drip. Go for it. All the way. 100%.
I had that as a sound clip. Ron's saying, let it drip. That's a good sound bite.
Yeah. Let it go.
No. Isolate that sound bite.
You know what? And I can sympathize with you on that. Go for it. Right? Do you need a pike? Let's go get a pike.
It's not a fish.
Not a fish?
It's not a fish.
What about you, Tromondae? What's your
answer? You can make a hook out of that. Let it drip, 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 drip.
There we go.
Drip, drip, drip. Tell Skylar to get on that.
Yeah. Let it drip. You know what? You're how about letting that drip there? Let it drip on my black belt.
That'd be dope.
That would be.
So what do you think, Tromondae? Is that wrong for me to picture their heads on pikes outside of my house? Like I'm a castle, like at my castle?
No, because one of the things that I thought about, most students, kids at that age, like that's a lot to suffer in a lot amount of time, and not many students make it that far without doing something to themselves and ending their life. And the fact that you were able to make it through that, like I think about all those kids who could not.
Yeah, I think about that too,
and it's almost like replacing the faces, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I think back on that time and all the stuff that has happened ever since in the world, I find it amazing that I either never killed myself, or that I never walked into school with a gun. That is when I look back, that's what I think about. Different time, maybe something would have been different.
And I can sympathize with that on too.
Also, is that your thing to do today? Is it you're going to sympathize with everything?
No, because I understand where you're coming from. I really do. I got so beaten down in school, right? I never had friends, right? What friends I do have, were they really friends or more of an acquaintance, right? And I switched schools every 2 fucking years. It was hard to make friends.
Why'd you switch schools every 2 years?
What's that?
Why'd you switch schools every 2 years?
That's the way it happened, right? There was no stability in my life. Home was just a fucking nightmare. School was a nightmare. I couldn't run, right? I could not run. And I didn't know any life skills. It was either get yelled at and beaten or get yelled at and beaten. What do you choose, right? And yeah, I agree exactly how you feel. I've just learned to suppress it a lot better. And I think like you do. Do I want to take revenge? Oh, like you would not believe. I agree with you on a lot of this shit you're saying.
Well, you know what would have made the podcast really good is if you would have told us that instead of being like, "Oh no, yeah, I don't, yeah, no, I don't, yeah, no, I don't, yeah, revenge is bad."
However,
Don't you
what are
think
the
it would have?
moral
Don't you
implications?
think it would have been better if you'd have just said,
No, because
this is
every
what I
time I
really
think
wanted
like
to
that,
do?
I think about the moral implications.
The moral of implications of just thinking about it and talking about it, as opposed to like doing it.
Doing it.
No, and so here's the thing, Ron. I think about, again, going back to that podcast where we spoke about people within, um your business, your participants, if you will, like respecting you and who you are, and hearing back what you just said about your childhood, where like you went through these experiences where you just had to get beaten and be okay with it, and then that just became a pattern that's affecting you now in your adult life. And what the Beaveman is saying, say it however you need to say it, but you need to say it. So you tell people what you will or will not no longer allow. So for you, if it is just saying no, then let it be no. And that is okay because that's how you need to say it. But if B man, as he said, needs to carve it in their chest, allow him to say it how he needs to say it. And it's okay because that's how he needs to say it. And that's going to stop it for him. And if you were to put your foot down and stop it now, you're not allowing yourself to live to continue to get beaten and be okay with it because this is what you allow to
Okay, I
happen.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah,
Get
you
it out of
just
your
set
system.
you're just setting a pattern.
Yeah.
That's all you're
Right.
doing.
I
And when you
understand what you're
say,
saying.
and when I give you the outlet to talk about it just on a podcast, you should, instead of quote suppress it, because this is, the reason why I do the podcast in the first place is because it's therapeutic for me in the first place, and I try to do it with some comedy, so it's my form of therapy. Whereas if I've given you the outlet to do it and you're like, yeah, I'm just going to suppress my thoughts on it the whole time and I'm going to take the high road. I don't want you to take the high road, Ronz.
Yeah.
I want you to enjoy it and let yourself go.
And
Okay.
speaking of, in the same aspects, coming to this podcast, this is one of the spaces where I freely talk about my sexuality and I be okay with it in this space. So I think we all have found this to be a space to just like kind of remove those filters that we don't necessarily have to live behind, because if nobody else, we're just speaking to each other.
I
We don't
always
know
thought
who
you
the
talked
other
about
listener is.
I always thought you talked about your sexuality out in the open, Tromondae. I mean,
No,
No, he doesn't.
really?
no.
Who doesn't believe in you? We believe in you. That's all that counts.
What?
That's why I talk about it.
It's rather arrogant statement of you, Ron. You're like, you know what? We believe in you, and that's truly all that matters. This small group
okay.
of people, as long as we believe in you, it's good. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. So when I give you the opportunity, Ronz, that's what this podcast is. This is my therapy.
Unleash next
This is
time,
my
then.
therapeutic thing. This is my
I will
form.
unleash.
This is
I will
comedy. This is
unleash.
what we do. And if we get something out of it, great. And clearly other people get something out of it, because instead of actually having, from the time that I started, I naturally assumed I'd never get more than 10 plays. And if I got them, I'm great. But we average, it seems like not a lot to people, but if we still average over 130, 150 listeners or plays a week, that doesn't seem like a lot to the big people out there. But there's plenty of podcasts that nobody listens to, period. So imagine there are actually people that like to hear us speak.
I will unleash next time.
And when they listen to you take the fucking high road, it probably doesn't make them too fucking happy.
No. Actually, they love you. They really do. And Tromondae. Tromondae. And speaking of Tromondae, by the way,
no, people
I
listen
brought
to
the
hear
gift out to you, and you weren't there.
People listen because they want to hear the stupid shit you say.
Yeah, but I also brought my gift out to you, Tromondae, and you weren't there. I had to take it home.
He doesn't want it anyway because it's in your pants.
We will get it.
Yeah, it was in my pants. Hey-o. It's
in his butt.
No.
Yo, I have to tell you guys,
I
have laughed so fucking hard on this podcast tonight. You guys, like, You all have
That's
blessed
good.
me on
Yeah,
tonight.
at least we made somebody laugh. That's good.
Yeah. And you know what?
All right.
If you're cool with it, we should put your picture of you with that tux on our website somewhere.
Please
If
do.
only Ronz knew how to work the website.
I
That'd be great.
do. I
If
do.
only. If only. All right. Well,
All
that's
right.
it for me because I just the Ron's trying to make me feel bad because I think about revenge. So I guess
I did. No.
Yes, he wants to be Mr. I'm better than you. That's fine. That's okay, and I'm okay with it.
Are you? Are you really?
I'm fine with it. You know,
Okay.
it's okay. I it's fine. You know, you want to take the high road. That's fine. I'm gonna get off the. I'm gonna end this though because He-Man came out or whatever they call it, Master of the Universe, and I'm gonna watch that tonight because I got to work tomorrow. So I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Sounds
So
good.
for me, the Beaveman, because apparently you guys like to do it that way. Adios, mooch fuckos.
From the Ronz, and Tromondae's got the last word.
Don't tell him what to do, Ronz.
Deuces.